The U.S. signed a status of forces agreement in these past hours with Niger on the West African side of the continent. And U.S. forces are helping the French fight jihadists in Mali. But should Washington be worried about the east coast of Africa? Former Eritrean Governor Dawit Giorgis joins me now from Washington to discuss. Dawit, you've been writing a lot on this topic recently. Why is Eritrea so crucial to regional stability in East Africa?
Thank you. The Horn of Africa comprises of 5 countries, Djibouti, Somalia, Eritrea, Ethiopia, and it's extremely important because these countries are along the Red Sea coast, one of the busiest shipping lanes in the world. It has been already in a crisis, and another crisis now in Eritrea will compound the situation and will make the access to the Arabian Peninsula, to the Arabian Gulf, and to the Mediterranean increasingly more difficult and insecure.
Dawit, when we think of the east coast of Africa, we think of sort of the pirate threat off of Somalia. Eritrea never really comes into it. What kinds of jihadist groups are we talking about here? Al-Shabaab, these kinds of Al-Qaeda-linked groups?
No, Eritrea so far is religiously stable. There are no confirmed signs of Al-Qaeda operating there. But as you must have known, Eritrea has been supporting Al-Shabaab in Somalia, the Al-Qaeda in Somalia. So that relationship between Somalia and the government of Eritrea has been a little bit taken very cautiously. And if Eritrea continues to support Al-Shabaab, and if it is really supporting Al-Shabaab, then that's something to watch. But Eritrea has tried to deny this its association with Al-Shabaab, and because in its own interest itself, Eritrea has got 35% of the population are Muslims, and it's along the Red Sea coast and along and shares a border with Sudan. So for its own sake, it better really eliminate this relationship it has with Al-Shabaab.
So, Dawit, from the U.S. perspective, you're facing this eruption of violence in other parts of the continent. What kind of focus should we be putting on this issue, and what kind of leverage, if any, does Washington have to keep Eritrea on sort of our side of the fight?
Absolutely. It's extremely important because Eritrea has got 1,000 kilometers of coast along the Red Sea. And geographically, Eritrea and the Horn of Africa is part of Africa, but geopolitically, it's part of the Middle East. It affects any instability in Somalia, as it has done before. Any instability in Eritrea would definitely affect stability in the region, in access to the Red Sea, access to Israel, access to Gaza, access to Egypt, and illegal firearms trafficking, illegal drug trafficking. So all these things have been happening, and with an instability in Eritrea, this will be more compounded. So it's extremely important that surveillance continues along this Red Sea coast and the Arabian Gulf, and also ensure that there is a strong and stable government, democratic government in Eritrea.
A strong and stable democratic government in Eritrea. Former Eritrean Governor Dawit Giorgis, thank you so much for being with us.